Cap does about Cancer. Cancer tends to feel like Cap has the potential to, again, be a life partner or someone they can really complete their life with. Usually after the separation happens. Hello, collective. My name is Kristen Simone-Hansen, and welcome to SeaGoatsecrets. Hi again, I am Kristen and I am a healer. In this video, you are going to get a full rundown of the Cancer Capricorn compatibility and my perspective and opinions on it. If you would like to expand on this information and dive deeper into your own love life or your own Cancer Capricorn polarities, feel free to join the healing circle. That link can be found here and in the description. And as you guys know, I am a global citizen and I love connecting with all of you on a worldly and global level, so drop where you're listening from in the comments. Now, with all that being said, let's get into this. So the Cancer-Capricorn dynamic is one for the books, obviously, as we know, because the two are opposites of each other, sitting on opposing sides, Cancer governing the 7th house and Capricorn governing the 10th house. The mother and the father of the zodiac dynamic. The thing about these two is they often find each other in ways that neither of them expect. Usually when they meet, it's something that is a bit of a surprise. So whether it be, and they can meet anywhere, it could be at work, it could be if they're younger in a school, church environment, usually a school environment than a church environment. And if it is like a church environment or a spiritual environment, it could have been like some kind of youth group or something. If they meet at work, it's usually, again, they could also have two different positions in the same workplace. So unlike with Aries and Cap, where they could have similar positions, the Cancer could have a more casual position and the Capricorn could have a higher position, or it could be that the Capricorn is kind of new into this situation, maybe younger or more vulnerable in some kind of way, and then Cancer has some kind of veteran position, but Cancer's really lax about it. And rarely do they meet. They could meet at like a social situation, like a lounge or club situation. But usually, again, it's something where they lock eyes on each other and it's like, wow. But it's a very unexpected wow. Unexpected for the people around them, unexpected also for them, especially for the Capricorn. So before I get into that, I'm going to kind of pull back a little bit and talk about Cancer and Capricorn and why this dynamic is so intense and pulling. So they are the opposites of each other, and this kind of dance for all of the zodiac is, you know, for almost every single one who has their opposite, they can kind of have this pull with each other where they can either avoid each other altogether or not get enough of each other, constantly coming back and forth in a very karmic kind of way. So this kind of connection can get to a place where it is very toxic or very difficult. The two can have a strong impact on each other where it's almost like they can't get each other out of their skin. I would say their polarity and Scorpio and Taurus's polarity are some of the strongest, where the other signs, because the energy is a little bit different, they can kind of get enough of each other and like separate a little bit more often, besides maybe Leo and Aqua, but usually Leo is the one that can't let go of Aqua versus Aqua on the other side. But the Cancer Capricorn polarity or the dynamic can go on for years, and it can pull at each other no matter what's going on with them. These are the kinds of people that can leave each other and get in new relationships and still have a karmic pull to each other. The kind of exes that look at each other's profiles years after the fact. The kind of exes that almost have that you were the one that got away, whether it actually logically makes sense or not. This tends to be the feeling that the two leave each other with. It's very difficult for both of them to pry away from their connection. And they can find each other at different points in their lives over and over again, meeting up sometimes 5 years in between, 2 years in between, whatever it may be. Or if they do not see each other again, they have a big impact on each other. And one of them is going to feel it more than the other. So there's something about each other that screams to the other person that this could have worked, or this could have been my divine counterpart, or this could have been my ultimate. Cancer tends to feel that more about Cap than Cap does about Cancer. Cancer tends to feel like Cap has the potential to, again, be a life partner or someone they can really complete their life with. Usually after the separation happens, if Cancer was the catalyst behind it, Cancer usually is the one who struggles to let it go. Whereas if Capricorn was the catalyst behind it, Capricorn can be a little bit easier at letting it go, only because the Capricorn says that there was some logical, rational rhyme or reason why it didn't make sense, whether Capricorn is lying to themselves or not. So anyway, and this is because they are opposing, they are opposites. Where Cancer does not have a home, Capricorn is the home. Capricorn builds the foundation. Where Cancer is all about, because Cancer is the sign of not having a home, Cancer is all about home and family. Where Capricorn is the sign of foundation and the architect, Capricorn is all about also home and family, but in a different way. Where Capricorn is about the provider who's kind of above and can neglect their home and family in order to provide for it. Where Cancer is all about being inside the home and family and being in that area. So the two create a beautiful opposing energy to one another. They respect each other a lot. Even though Cancer can be a bit of a player, the worst kind, some would say, mainly because they can have this demeanor to them that is very soft and sweet, or seemingly like they aren't as playerisk as they seem, or it can be obvious. Sometimes they can give it off and it can just be a feeling of this person is really for everyone. and whether they are like that or not, they can kind of have that demeanor to them. So even though Cancer is like that, Cancer tends to have a strong respect and pull to the Capricorn. And even if Capricorn is on the outside of the situation, Cancer usually is going to be in. So in terms of meeting each other again, Cancer is going to be in the more popular realm in terms of connecting with other people or knowing more people, where Capricorn is going to be on the outside. Kind of, again, think the summer versus the winter. Cancer's in the middle of the winter. Capricorn begins the summer. And so Capricorn's kind of, actually Cancer begins the summer, I believe. Yes, Cancer begins the summer and Capricorn begins the winter. So Capricorn's kind of cooling out somewhere kind of far off into the distance, where Cancer is in the makings, in the middle of it all. But the cool, demenored person in the middle of it all, because you know that's how Cancer likes to be. And so yeah, so the two have a strong pull to each other. On the outside, it's not necessarily something that shocks too many people. It's more like something that people look at it and they're like, okay, yeah, that makes sense. I can see how that works. Is it the most ideal couple? Not necessarily, but they're ideal to each other. And when you get close to their lives and you see how they operate, it comes off very ideal, because one is one way and one is the other. If it's a Capricorn woman, Cancer man, the Capricorn woman gets very domestic with the Cancer man, so she does not mind being the homemaker in her own way. If anything, she'll start like a homemaking business, homemaking blog or something like that, and he could be the work, or he could be out doing his own thing. But the way it navigates as the Cancer man ends up taking on kind of a softer energy, where his heart is very much a part of the family. He's the father with the big heart who can't wait to come rushing home and be with the kids. And the Capricorn woman is the strong, anchored mother who is taking care of everything, taking care of all the kids, making sure they all look perfect, and they're smart and they're well read, and they all have A's, and if she's at home, the house is going to be kept immaculate and peaceful, and the Cancer man will be very happy. If the two are working, You can also in this dynamic find the Capricorn woman being the breadwinner, while the Cancer man is can be at home and have no problem with that, or make less and have a more close relationship with the home and family. It still works. Versus if the Capricorn man and the Cancer woman, it's more like a traditional type situation, but it works across the board on both ends. When you're around them, it just makes sense. You think, okay, I can see that. More people question it for the Capricorn person than they do the Cancer person. The Capricorn person can seem like they could have went elsewhere, or kind of matched themselves with someone who was a little bit more like them. Because the polarities, they are very different. And again, Capricorn is notorious for allowing Cancer to be Cancer. And it can kind of come off like Cancer drives Capricorn a little bit crazy. It's regardless of gender boards, you get that kind of energy where it's people can look at Capricorn like, okay, all right, that's what you want. I can see how that's what you want. It's clear that Cancer is a little bit of a handful, and Capricorn's okay with that. Another thing that this couple tends to give off across gender boards is a sensual kind of energy. So the two's sexuality between each other can read very loudly. This is the kind of couple that you can kind of feel their bedroom activities when looking at them. And sometimes people can assume that it kind of was maybe a situation like that was kind of taken to a place of being more serious. That can be some of the negative connotations tied to this connection. But from here, let's get into it. So in terms of the two, the Cancer man is one of his emotions, but he's tough, very tough. This is a guy that can sometimes be a little bit volatile, mainly because his emotions govern so much of what it is that he does. Very sensitive. If you look in his eyes, his sensitivity reigns supreme, but it's accompanied by a very strong body. Think crab, right? Very soft-centered but hard on the outside. So one of the biggest misconceptions is, people think Cancer and they think of someone that's just so soft. And so Cancer men tend to be really tough and equal parts strong and emotionally available. And if he's high vibrational, which is what we're talking about here, is the high vibrational versions of all of these people, he's okay with his emotions and he likes them. He actually takes a lot of pride in his emotional intelligence and his emotional depth, and he wears it. This is the kind of man that likes to connect with your soul. He likes to be as close to you as possible. Think Prince, If I Was Your Girlfriend. Now, this sounds very critical to a man's energy, but if you listen to the song, you'd understand what I mean. Prince's energy is kind of similar to what it is that I mean. But that song, in a sense of he can want to be so close to you, where he develops a soul merger with you. And the Cancer man can be really frustrated by when a woman can kind of do the space having thing, meaning like, a woman reserves, like I always say, one of my favorite phrases is a woman reserves the right to her mystery, and I maintain mine, right? The Cancer man can be very frustrated about that. He doesn't want there to be a block between you and him. He wants there to be a full soul merger where there are no secrets, where there are no boundaries. Almost like, again, that song, right? So listen to that song if you can. If I Was Your Girlfriend by Prince, and how he's talking about just wanting there to be no blockages, again, no boundaries, no disconnections between you and him, just wanting there to be an openness. The Cancer man is the kind of man that wants to talk to you and can talk to you about anything, really. He's big on you not feeling judged by him and feeling like you can connect with him completely. He takes pride in the fact that he can create a safe space for you, and wants you to feel very comfortable in your own skin. He thinks of himself as the man that you can feel safe with, that you can sell all your secrets to. He's the guy who takes pride in the fact that he's not going to judge you for the things that you did that you don't want to tell other guys about. He's the one that you don't have to keep secrets from. You don't have to hide from. You don't have to be overly conservative or afraid of yourself. And that's the big thing that he tries to put in terms of you guys being together, connecting with each other. He wants to create this safe space that says you can be yourself, and I am not creating any kind of blockages or boundaries. he pulls you in with his emotional availability, sensitivity, and again, feelings of safety. You definitely feel like you found someone that you can trust, that is strong, equal parts really strong and tough, but inside that center is so soft. It's something that makes you feel very good. And if you are a woman who has dealt with any kind of trauma or any kind of brokenness, the Cancer man can feel like a godsend. So that's him. And throughout his life, he's dealt with various difficulties. Usually there's some kind of strained relationship or some kind of coldness between him and his mother in some way, but he tends to be really drawn to his mother and value his mother a lot. And that relationship matters to him a lot. His family in general matters to him. And usually the lifestyle that he had growing up was something that he does not want now that he is older. In his mind, regardless of what it is that he had, it felt unstable in some kind of way, and it felt like it wasn't enough of a home in some kind of way. So he wants to develop and create a much stronger foundation in his older age and be a much stronger figure. He could also feel like he didn't have enough of a backbone or a backing when it comes to his own masculine energy or masculine principles in his youth, which is a part of the strength that he develops in his age. Again, when you think of him, think of someone who is very strong and does not want to be treated in any way like he is weak. He finds his safe space in the feminine arms, and he does not want to be criticized and or ridiculed for that. When you think of the Cancer woman, she is, say, a little bit similar, I guess, to the Cancer man, but honestly I would say very different. Because of her femininity, this woman shows up in the world very soft. She wants you to think of her as very soft. She wants you to think of her as very easy on the eyes, very, when I think of bedroom eyes, I think of Cancer women, that whole kind of dreamy kind of look, the blue-eyed babe kind of deal. That tends to be the Cancerian. Lighter colors, this plumpiness in her lips and in her face and in her body. There's something about her that feels so warm and so soft, like you just want to wrap your arms around her. She feels very cushiony. And so, especially for those of you who are Cancer risings, there's something about her that gives off an air of trust, a motherly-like energy, but a motherly-like energy tied with a lot of seduction. These women know exactly what they're doing in terms of their seduction abilities, using softness and delicacy as a major weapon. The Cancerian woman wants to look like she has no harm, really, or like she can do no harm. And she, frankly, is really good at getting what she wants through the art of persuasion, some would say manipulation. And she can be a bit of a princess. So the thing to keep in mind with her, though, is being a Cancer, she actually is really tough. And these women can be quite mean, honestly, especially because of their emotions. So being governed by whatever it is that they feel, they can be quite relentless in terms of those emotions and how they see things. But their look and their demeanor feels very harmless, whereas the Cancer man doesn't always look harmless. He can look maybe, again, even if he gives you like a sensitive kind of look to him, there's something about him that feels, it could just read deep instead of sensitive. Rarely do they come off, especially in their older age, rarely do they come off soft per se. It's more of an intensity, I guess. Whereas the Cancerian woman can look soft for a lifetime and look as safe as ever in that sense. Again, very soft, very cushiony. But then you get to know her and you realize she's quite tough, can be quite discriminating, a little bit mean, and can be very hypercritical of anyone that she does not feel safe around or anyone that she does not know. This is a woman that can be really harsh and protective of her family to a point of obsession, and she likes to defend what is hers, and that includes her partners. Very protective and very aggressive, and take mother to an extreme degree. So that's the Cancerian woman. In her youth, she usually had the kind of childhood where she is very, and in adulthood as well, there's something about her mother energy, being very close to her mother or idealizing her mother. That tends to be a thing with her. But again, she could have had a coldness with her mother. Her mother is not as close to her as the Cancer female feels to the mother. The Cancer woman can want a deeper bond with her mother than her mother is possibly capable of giving to her. But she still idealizes her and pedestalizes her and wants to be connected with her. This is the kind of woman that will hold on to relationships for a very long time. So her relationship with her family, whether it is good or bad, toxic or healthy, is something that she's going to be kind of, again, to a point of a bit of obsession, focused on. And if you build a family with this woman, she's very passionate about this and very passionate about the home and maintaining it and doing it kind of a bit with an iron fist. So that's the two of them. If you want to look at the Capricorn man, you can find that link here. And if you want to look at the Capricorn woman, you can find that link here. So let's kind of dive a little bit deeper. Let's get into their sensual dynamics with each other. So the sex life between these two is quite intense, very, very powerful. As I kind of mentioned before, a lot of the time they can give off the kind of energy where it looked like a sexual relationship that got serious. And it's not to say that they don't have real emotions for each other, but it's just the sexuality between them is just really intense. They can have a kind of like an obsession with each other, again, a deep desire for each other. They both deliver in the way that the other one needs. And Capricorn is out for complete, climactic satisfaction, and Cancer is this, depth of emotion. But again, Cancer is the crab who navigates in shallow waters, that's always wanting to be able to step out into the bigger ocean, feeling safe to step out into that bigger ocean, and making love is a part of the spaces in which Cancer does that. And the Capricorn is similar to Cancer in a sense of Capricorn being the seagoat, wanting to be able to finally be thrusted into a space where they can have their emotional depth and feel safe to do so and not always have to put on their suit for the world. So the two of them create this safe space together where they know how to honor each other in this department. Whereas the Cancer, especially the Cancer man, doesn't feel like he has to perform and come off too masculine or too macho. The Capricorn woman does a really great job at holding a safe space for what it is that he can deliver in terms of the complexities of who it is that he is and the emotions that he really wants to share. She does not force him into that space of having to come off kind of harder than he is. And for the shoe on the other foot, with the Capricorn woman, she gets someone that is just able to deliver both intense emotion and also physical resolve, someone that can just keep going at the same rate constantly. These two get really, really emotional and very sensitive and very feely with each other. They both are feeling so much when they connect with each other. From the Capricorn man to Cancerian woman, the Cancerian woman can handle all of the things that the Capricorn man wants to deliver in the spaces that he wants to take her. Again, they create an emotional safe space with each other. And the Cancer woman feels safe with the Capricorn man because oftentimes, again, her soft, hyper-feminine demeanor can make it so that men can kind of be attracted to her in an animalistic kind of way, whereas the Capricorn man knows how to manage his energy and monitor his energy so that she feels safe and she feels respected and she feels protected. And that's a part of the bond that goes on between them. Things get really... I was going to say something that I don't think I can say. Viscous? That's viscous? Things get really viscous between these two. Is that the word that I want to use? Yeah, we're going to go with that. We're going to say viscous between these two. And it's a lot of exploration, a lot of... so people wouldn't associate these two people together with adventure, but it is adventure in its own way. It's more like swimming. It's more like two people who normally avoid the deep waters in any other circumstance being able to put each other in a lovemaking space where they are going into every single corner and crevice and depth and emotion and just everything. They are intensely drawn and attached and crave the other person in a way that goes beyond rhyme or reason sometimes. And they can also look at each other as the ultimate. So despite their flaws as well, because both can be flawed in the other's eyes, I would say that the Capricorn is usually seen as ideal just based on their own looks to other signs that have more of an automatic attachment to the crevices of the Capricorn, and the Cancer is seen as more ideal to more like a Pisces or like a Scorpion, but to each other, they are not perfect. You know, they are flawed in each other's eyes, and still together they enjoy the flaws that the other one has, and it creates a beautiful acceptance and an openness. But yeah, the thing is, despite they can also have a really, really toxic relationship and be able to only ground themselves in this department because it's like the bread and butter between these two, and it is constant, and it's similar in terms of its consistency, like Taurus, the Taurus Capricorn dynamic, but it's not. It goes to so many other places. Let's just say that. So from there, we'll go into some of the flaws of this connection and what you guys can do to fix it. We'll wrap up there. So the biggest flaw between these two is the fact that they're opposites, plain and simple. They show up in the world in a different way, in two completely opposing ways, and that is where they butt heads. They can also have a major communication issue, mainly because where Capricorn will shut down, Cancer will explode. And Cancer can also be the type to shut down in their own way. It's more like Cancer will disappear. So Cancer, if they don't feel emotionally safe, or if they're just being emotionally manipulative, which in their minds is not always emotional manipulation, but to a Capricorn it is emotional manipulation if you're not going to be straightforward. Capricorn needs it to be straight and in their face, and something that they, like whatever it is that it's going to be, they'd rather it be said or done in its raw way, privately, but amongst the two. But a Cancer is the type of person that can, because of their sensitivity, they can... the camera stopped, so I'm here. So yeah, so in terms of the conflicts, the thing about Cancer and this emotional manipulation, Capricorn will view the way that Cancer's version of shutting down looks like as emotional manipulation. Ultimately, to a lot of people it is, but to Cancer it's not. It's Cancer trying to control and or rectify the situation by disappearing, kind of going MIA, especially masculine or male Cancers, they do that. But to the Capricorn, that is terrible. Capricorn needs it to be straightforward. They need it to be in their face. They'd rather fight it all out in private and know everything the Cancer feels and see the Cancer lose it, and like whatever it is that's going to happen, they'd rather it all be on the table so they know how to respond to it. And Cancer, however, because of their sensitivities, does not always know how to just compartmentalize their emotions. Now, don't get me wrong, the Capricorn feels just as much as the Cancer does, but the Capricorn knows how to compartmentalize. Capricorn's going to stiff their lip in the moment if they're in public or if it's like too heated of a situation, and process it, and then take the time to respond so they don't say the wrong thing. Cancer, being a water sign, is Cancer's just going to let it out. So no matter where they are, no matter what's going on, Cancer is going to wear their emotions, especially a Cancer that is in an emotional relationship with a Capricorn. Because where Cancer will be the more mature person for like a Scorpio or a Pisces, a Capricorn Cancer dynamic, the Cancer can kind of just almost be like a child, you know what I mean? Just kind of waving their hands, and Cancer, Capricorn can be such a container that Cancer literally just acts out, and Cancer doesn't act like their best selves or their most mature selves that they normally like to see themselves as. And it's because Capricorn is providing them with that parental energy that they are always voided of. Regardless of how clean the Cancer's background might seem or be, Cancer is voided of that parental feeling, and Capricorn provides that kind of stability that makes Cancer feel like they can kind of just unveil, or it's so safe or so predictable that they aren't being their best selves. And which again, to the mind of Cancer, is not what's happening. It's just Cancer being Cancer. But to the outside looking in, that's Cancer kind of not being responsible, basically. And The issue is that Capricorn will become the more responsible person and think before they speak and compartmentalize when certain things happen or how certain things happen. And the Capricorn is always trying to just make the conversation blunt, trying to just make it happen. But the Cancer will go into what they think is control, which is, their version of control, which is only saying what needs to be said and at certain moments and in certain ways, and trying to control the situation through what many would call, well, we'll just say emotional navigation, which goes really, really bad with the Capricorn, because if it's not straight up, the Capricorn is not going to process it, and the Capricorn's going to feel like they're being manipulated, which causes major problems. When the Cancer finally does decide to just let it all hang out, it's usually in a very, again, irresponsible way where the Cancer can say things that they don't mean, or the Cancer can blow up publicly. The Cancer is Cancer. So whatever the Cancer feels, the Cancer is just acting on, especially with Capricorn, because Cancer knows that a Capricorn is responsible for themselves. So Cancer doesn't have to be the more mature version of themselves that you would see them in other situations, which is a big, big problem. It's important for Cancer to understand that although the Capricorn is easy in a lot of ways, it doesn't mean you should take advantage of that. You still have to show up for the Capricorn the same way. For the Capricorn, the biggest thing to understand about the Cancer is, sorry, we're getting out of focus, but I would say for the Capricorn, the most important thing to do is to not shut down, is to, it's not always fair for you to have to create a safe space for the Cancer's energy, especially if the Cancer is doing emotional navigation, but don't shut down. For the Capricorn, it's important to not stonewall. When Cancer, in order to respond to Cancer, retaliation in terms of shutting down or kind of cutting them off is not the best response. I would say to just be very open and very blunt with the Cancer. And if the Cancer is just choosing to do emotional navigation, then I would suggest for the Capricorn to self-preserve. And the more you self-preserve, which kind of looks like stonewalling, is the Cancer doesn't have a choice than to have you two kind of meet in the middle. It's important to not try to control situations and to just let go and allow vulnerability between the two of you. And let go of that feeling of one trying to kind of have control or governance over the other, or fear that both of you might have about how the other person feels or how the other person is going to react. Stonewalling each other and disconnecting and shutting down from each other is not smart. And for you guys' case, a lot of your issues can be solved through intimacy. So don't forget each other. Don't forget to for other signs, I would say that this can lead to something really bad, and frankly with you guys it can too, but actually it is your healing point. When you allow yourselves to remember each other through intimacy, then you can feel vulnerable again and feel safe with each other again, because really it's coming from both of you guys' fear, especially Cancer's fear of safety and or abandonment. Okay, so that's my viewpoint of these two. Great combination when they actually work well together and communicate. Communication is key. Okay, so that's it. Yeah, so I love you guys. Tell me what you think.